Happy new release date, folks! It is officially the release date today in Japan of the brand new starter decks, which are, of course, Urara, Raika, and Michiru. So these are for 3 different nations, and of course they are to commemorate also Vanguard Will+Dress, the brand new Vanguard anime season starting as well. So in today's video, we're going to be opening up one of each of them, and as you can see, these ones are already removed from the plastic themselves, but this is what the trial decks look like when you actually buy them. So you can basically see here the price tag of them is like the actual trial deck price, not the starter deck price, and then it's basically packaged like a deck box actually, so you can just like hang it up on a shelf like this, and then you can see the sides. So I'm going to keep the plastic ones like this and show you what the actual products look like themselves. So we're going to open up all 3 of them in this video so you guys know what's actually inside. And there's been a pretty hot talking point where for every trial deck you buy, you get 1 copy of the Blitz Order Perfect Guard, which is a super important card because this is a must-have for every single premium deck, and it's also a must-have for the majority of standard decks that don't play grade 4s. But yeah, so since I bought 6 trial decks, I got 6 copies of the Blitz Order because it's very important and I play premium, so I definitely need a lot of copies. I'll make another video in the future talking about why this Blitz Order is so good, so for those of you that are new players can also know why it's so important, and you can also prioritize getting it in the future as well in English. For the record, I think these trial decks released in English at the beginning of October, so in like a bit over 2 months, so you'll still have to hold out for a little bit. But let's go in order in terms of 1, 2, and 3 and start off with the Urara trial deck for today's video. So as you can see, the trial deck itself comes in this kind of box where you basically have on the sides, you have the actual specifications of the product. So you have the different, like the play sheet and like the contents of the box, the paper playmat, the upgrade pack in here as well, and then the QR code for the official Twitter and the official YouTube channel. On the back, you have this kind of like, just sort of visual of the trial deck, and then here we have some information about what is Vanguard, who is Haneyama Urara, as well as Lianorn and the Stoichia Nation. So Lianorn, of course, is the main grade 3 of the deck. Up top we have the Vanguard logo together with the Stoichia Nation symbol, and then on the bottom you have just some specifications about Vanguard and Michiru. So the trial decks actually open up like this. There's no like seal or any kind of like sticker protecting it, because you obviously have the plastic protecting it instead. And inside we have the actual deck itself, which will open up in a bit. Let's put that aside for the time being. And you have this sort of like nice little storage for the deck itself here. So you still have a visual after you've opened it up. Then we have a few other things. So first we have this, which is the entry ticket. This is Japan only, but basically this is like an entry ticket for the Vanguard City Trial like quiz game. So this is happening in like 3 different regions of Japan, and they're basically doing this special event to commemorate the new trial decks coming out, which is very cool. So it's definitely nice to see. Then we have some fighters coins, so you can basically use these coins in fights. So for example, if you get a front trigger, you can take out this coin, for example. It's kind of like Pokemon coins or like damage counters. So you can just take out this coin and use it, but just keep in mind it's very thin. So you might want to like maybe glue 2 of them together or glue them onto like a more heavy duty cardboard, because these are very thin. They're literally just like the Pokemon damage counters. So you might want to actually put multiple of these together, especially like the ones without a logo, just to make them a bit more sturdy. Then this is, of course, this is a trial product, which is very much aimed at people that have never played card games before in general. So it's literally just there to get people into Vanguard as their first ever card game. So this tutorial paper kind of explains everything about the game. So the ride phase, like what boosting is, what attacking is, and of course, there's a very good tutorial video on YouTube that you can also check out on the official channel that will also teach you the rules and all the things you need to know about, like the card specifics and the details and whatnot. Then I'll just zoom out a little bit to show you the playmat here, so you can see that we have 2 sides to it. One of them has basically all the field details, and the other one has Urara on it. So you can see here we have the field detailed one, so you can see like the Vanguard circle, Reguard circles, and then like what drive checking is and what boosting is and damage zone, all that stuff. And then on the back side, actually maybe it's easier to show like this in the small camera. You can see here on the back side is the big Urara playmat. So of course it's in paper, but you can also get this playmat in rubber form as well as like a regular playmat, which I think is actually pretty good pick up as well. The design is very, very nice, so definitely think Lianorn and Urara will have quite a lot of fans going forward. Alright, there we go. I managed to actually close it up. Good job, me. And then, as the first purchase promo for the first printing of the trial decks, we have sleeves. So you can see we have nice little Urara sleeves. And these are very nice, a beautiful little pink color. How many of these do we have actually in this pack? 50. So this is just exactly enough for a deck. So that's perfect. So very nice. I will probably put the Lianorn deck into these sleeves too, because they're very, very nice. So let's put that aside. And then finally, we have the upgrade pack, and then that's that's it. So this is what the box looks like afterwards, and then you can actually remove this to use this as a regular deck box. So you basically have a deck box for free with purchasing a trial deck. I personally will not be using the trial deck or like the box as so I prefer to just kind of like keep it like this maybe to just have it look nice. So I think when you close it up, it kind of looks like this. So it honestly still looks like a nice little box to like storing like your commons and whatnot, if you want to just like use this as like regular card storage. So I think you have like a little separator in here as well, which I think is pretty nice. So I think I'll use this as so. And then we have the promo upgrade pack, which is very thick as you can see. So we'll open this up after we look through the cards. So let's zoom in and take a look at the cards inside the trial deck itself. So we of course remove the little peel on the side and then get into it. So as you can see, the foiling is actually double rare this time around, not triple rare unlike usual, but I think, and only the first one. So of course, if you want to have 4 foils, you'll have to pick up more copies of the trial deck. So here we have Lianorn. I will read out the abilities of the new cards as well. This one says, when you ride over her, so for persona riding purposes, her name is also regarded as the other Lianorn that is in the 6th D booster set. And then when she attacks on Vanguard, you can solve +1 and discard 1, and then choose all of your back row standing rearguards that have boost, and they all boost her at the same time. And then she's being boosted by 3 or more units. For that battle, she gains an extra drive, and at the end of that battle, she stands the rearguards that boosted. So this way, she stands 2 of the rearguards that boosted. So this way, you can boost with 3 of your back row, and then the left and the right back row will still restand to be able to boost your other rearguards at the same time, which is very good. And then her other skill is when this unit is boosted on rearguard circle, she gets another +5k power. So we get 4 copies in order to persona ride, and she's actually a very strong boss unit. Like, does very dimension police-y things. For those of you that have played Vanguard for a while, you'll know what that is. So basically having like a huge Vanguard swing with like triple drive. I feel like they might give her some guard restrict in the future too, but 4 copies, so just as many as you need to actually play the deck. And then we have these tutorial cards. So this is new from this trial deck onwards, where they introduce cards that don't have abilities, but instead teach you how the game really plays from a very basic level. So we have the starter, which says, you have a deck of 50 cards, and from the deck of 50 cards, you choose a grade 0, 1, 2, and 3, and put them into the ride deck. Now the grade 1 says, you discard 1, and then ride this card on top of the grade 0, so literally shows you which one you're supposed to ride from. And then you have the grade 2, which says you discard 1, then you choose this card and put it on top of your grade 2 as a ride. So these are the tutorial cards that basically teach you how the game works, which I think is a very nice inclusion. Then we have a bunch of rearguard support. So this card says, when attack the Vanguard on rearguard circle, if you have 3 or more back row rearguards, you can count +1 to gain +10k. So a strong beater on top of the strong boosters that you have in the deck, and you get this at 4 copies. Then we have the Upbeat Dragon. When this unit intercepts, if you have 2 or more back row grade 1 or less rearguards, then for that battle, this unit gets +10k shield. So it's a 15k intercept, which is pretty nice. We also get 4 copies of that. Then we have a card that teaches what intercept is, which is a vanilla. So I think this is a smart way to use the vanilla slot in terms of, just teaching what the card actually does. So it says, a card with the intercept icon can move from the front row rearguard circle to the guardian circle and act as a guardian, and then it goes to the drop zone after you guard with it. So it literally explains every step of guarding. Then we have the Irudo Elf. Once per turn, if your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, count +2 to draw a card. Not a particularly amazing card, but for starter deck purposes, it's fine. Then we have the Piara. She says that when a unit in the same column as a unit with the boost icon attacks, you can rest this unit in order to add her power to the unit in front. So it literally explains what boost is, which I think is a very nice way to introduce people to the game. Then we have the same PGs as in the Magnolia starter deck. So if you don't know what a perfect guard is, it's a card that can block an opponent's attack no matter how big it is. And then we have the Theodore. When discarded from your hand during the ride phase, you can call it rearguard circles. So for example, if you discard it for, the ride deck, you can just call it out. And then we have the cutest critical trigger ever made in existence. This is literally a reason to play this deck, is this little guy, the Melodia Pomera. So very cute guy. Critical trigger, we have 4 copies. Then the draw trigger, we have 4 copies as well. And then the front trigger, we have 4 copies as well. And then finally heal trigger, also 4 copies. And you'll notice there's no over trigger in the actual trial deck itself, and so they leave that for the bonus pack. So the bonus pack is right here. This contains 12 total cards, and one of them is going to be foil. So let's take a look at what is inside here. So, as you can see, ooh, that's very nice. So our foil for this one is the grade 2 of the ride line, which is definitely a very good card to get. So her effect, her actual effect is when a Lianorn rides over her, you can Soul Blast 1 and choose a grade 1 or lower from your drop and call it to rearguard circle. And then on rearguard circle, if you have 3 or more back row rearguards, this unit gains boost. So she's a 10k booster, which is very good for this deck. And then the grade 2, the grade 1 says when the grade 2 rides over her, you can call this card out from the soul, which is very strong. And then when she boosts the Vanguard for that battle, she gets plus 5k, which is also very good. And then we have the starter, which of course lets you draw a card when you go second. And then the grade 1 that explains how boost works in the deck. It says rearguard circle, when this unit boosts and attack its a Vanguard, you can choose a grade 2 or lower from your hand and put it to your soul to draw 1, which is honestly pretty good. It's kind of like Sybil for Jewel Knights in a way. So we get a total of 4 copies of her to finish up the playset. And then we have the Clapping Dragon. So this card says when placed on front row rearguard circle from hand, if you have 3 or more back row rearguards, you can count almost 1 to draw 1. And then if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, to also gain plus 10k. So this card is actually pretty good because of course it lets you draw and get power, which is pretty exciting in my opinion. So we get 2 copies of this card. We get 1 copy of the Orubaria Overtrigger. So this card you can take out one of your fronts, for example, to include this. And then we get 2 copies of the Order card. And sadly, they don't explain how order cards work, I guess, on the card itself. So you Soul Blast 1 to play this, and then for that turn, all of your grade 1 or lower rearguards get plus 5k power. So honestly, pretty good card and a very nice art as well. So you get 1 foil randomly in this bonus pack, which in this case we got lucky with the grade 2. Let's open up the other bonus pack as well, because of course I bought 2 of each trial deck, so let's just use this opportunity to open this one up as well and see what we get. Alright, so let's open it up and see if we can get the grade 1 of the Ride Line in foil. Nope, we have the starter. Okay, that's also pretty good. I mean, having the Ride Line in foil is obviously the best, so there you go. These are the contents. So by buying 2 of the starter decks, I basically have a full playset of this card and the Order. Not sure if they'll be played, so I'm not sure if it's really worth buying 2 of the starter decks. I mostly bought them to get more of the Orders than anything. Also, because I'm going to have a bunch of spares of these sleeves from opening up all of these trial decks, I might just do a giveaway for some of the extras that I have. Alright, so that was Urara's trial deck. Now we'll get into the second one, which is, of course, Hazama Michiru. So this is, of course, a very hyped up trial deck as well, because the character is very cool, and Michiru's whole deck, Drajeweled, has some pretty cool support coming up in the next 2 sets. So this is what the box looks like. We have Drajeweled at the front, and then we have on the side, of course, again, the contents of the product, then another visual on the back, then explaining Michiru, Vanguard, Drajeweled, and Dark States on the side, and then on the bottom we have the usual information here, and then up top we have the Vanguard and Dark States logo, which looks very nice. We open it up, and again, it is the exact same system as before. We have the trial deck itself, which we'll open up in a second. Then we have the booklets as well as the sleeves. So let me just get everything out all at once. This is what the box looks like once it's opened up and empty. So again, same as Urara's. So we're not going to take time to look at all of these. I can open up the playmat on this side again. So here's what the Drajeweled paper playmat looks like. Very nice, actually. Very good design. Drajeweled itself is a very pretty unit, I will say. So then we have the sleeves of Michiru. Again, you have 50 sleeves per pack, which is very good. So exactly how much you want for the deck. And then we have the upgrade pack, which we'll take a look at in a second. But first, let's open up the trial deck itself and take a look at all of the cards within. So you can see we have the double rare foiled Drajeweled. Actually looks very beautiful too. Drajeweled's effect is, of course, when this card is written by the booster set, the BT07 Drajeweled, it is treated as when it's written over, it's treated as the same name as the BT7 Drajeweled. And then Vanguard Circle, when this unit attacks the Vanguard, you can Soul Blast 4 cards that all have different grades. So a 0, this is the unit's grade, so you have to Soul Blast a 0, 1, 2, and a 3. And then when you do that, you set your opponent's Vanguard's power to 1, and then if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, this unit also gets a crit, which is very nice. And on Rearguard Circle, if during this turn you have Soul Blasted 4 more at the same time for an ability's cost, then this unit gets plus 5k, so it's also a strong Rearguard attacker. So we get 4 copies of that, with one of them being foil. Then we have the cards explaining how riding and stuff works again, so this is the grade 2, the grade 1, and the grade 0 of the ride deck. Then we have the Tracklance Raider. Rearguard Circle, when this unit attacks, if a Drajeweled named Vanguard, you can count almost 1, and for that battle get plus 10k power, and at the end of the battle it goes to Soul, which is actually pretty good because this gets you grade 3s in the Soul to use for Drajeweld's ability, which is very nice because Drajeweld's ability is on attack to the Vanguard. Then we have a card explaining how Intercept works, which is of course, the vanilla. This was a vanilla to begin with as well. Then we have the Mystic Accordionist. If discarded from your hand during the ride phase, you can call this card out to Rearguard Circle, so it's a grade 2 this time, which is pretty cool. You get an intercept out of it too. This is the Avid Heaper Rearguard Circle. When this unit boosts a unit that is grade 2 or greater, you may soul charge 1, which is pretty good because that of course allows us to set up the soul for Drajeweled. We have the Direful Doll Justine, or Shestine. Very nice art actually. Once per turn Rearguard Circle, if your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, it allows you to draw a card. Sadly, not a very powerful ability. And then we have the card explaining how boost works. This is the Furugures, so we'll take a look at what he actually does in the bonus pack later. We have the same grade 1 Perfect Guard. It's a shame they didn't just print the good Perfect Guards in this as well. And then we have a new critical trigger, which also looks very nice. A new draw trigger, followed by a new front trigger, and a new heal trigger. So once again, no over trigger in the actual trial deck product itself, which again, I find quite interesting. And then finally we have the Michiru upgrade pack. So let's take a look at what foil we get and also read through the cards that actually have abilities in the main product. So, the grade 2 of the Drajeweled Ride line. This card says, when this unit's attack hits the opponent's Vanguard, you soul charge 1, and then when you ride, so that ability works in Vanguard and Rearguard Circle, but when you ride Drajeweled over this guy, you soul charge 1, and then if you have 3 or more different grades in your soul, you draw 1. So by having a 0, 1, and then a 2, because this becomes a soul when you ride over him, you get to draw the card as well, which is very, very good. And then we have the grade 1, the Jewel Core Dragon. When Jueruniru rides over him, so the grade 2, you can call this card out to the Rearguard Circle. And then on Rearguard Circle, when this unit boosts or attacks for that battle, this guy gets plus 5k, and at the end of the battle he goes to the soul, which is very, very important. And then we have the starter. Then we have the cards that didn't have effect in the trial deck. So we have the Fulguress. He says when he's placed on Rearguard Circle, if you have a Drajeweled Vanguard, you can Soul Blast 1, and then choose a card from your drop zone and put it into the soul, and for that battle this thing gets plus 2k. So he sets up your soul for Drajeweled, which is very, very important. You can Soul Blast out a card that you have like 2 grades of in your soul and set up a card for that grade that you don't have, which is very nice. And we get a foil copy of him, which is pretty cool. So that's our foil for this trial deck. Then we have the Ultrasound Shirie. So she's a grade 2, and when she's placed on Rearguard Circle from hand, you can count plus 1, and then look at the top 3 cards of your deck and choose one of them and put it to your soul and shuffle your deck. And then if you have 4 more different grades in your soul, you draw 1, which is very good. This is a really good card for just a trial deck card. Like, you could easily see them add a card like this into the booster set as like a double rare. So honestly, props, very good card. You get 2 copies. Then we have Rin. When she's placed on Rearguard Circle, you can look at the top 2 cards of your deck and then choose one of them, put it to your soul, and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Or well, I guess you just put 1. You can't choose to put 2 in the bottom of your deck in any order. So yes, also a very good card that we get 2 copies of, and then the Orubaria Overtrigger. So again, let me open up the other trial deck and see which of the foils we get in the promo upgrade pack. Alright, opening it up. Hopefully it's going to be one of the ride lines. We have the grade 1, nice, perfect. So I really was hoping to get one of the ride line cards in foils, that's very good. So yes, that is the starter deck for Michiru. And finally, we have everyone's favorite edgy boy, Hoshiba Raika, so, and his Youthberk. In terms of art, this one is my favorite. I think art-wise, Youthberk is my favorite, and then Lianorn, especially because a lot of Lianorn support cards are drawn by some of my favorite artists. So because of that, I'm definitely a big fan of Lianorn to that extent. Hold up, I need to get this out of the box here. There we go. So this is what the Youthberk trial deck looks like. So as you can see, we have Youthberk up front, then we have the contents, we have the background, then we have what is Vanguard, well, who is Raika, who is Youthberk, what is Keter Sanctuary, and then of course the Bouchard information as well as the Keter Sanctuary logo up top. Opens up like so, and then we have the contents. So once again, we have the deck itself, looking very beautiful. Hagiya Kaoru art never disappoints. And then of course here we have the front here. This actually says Yokoso Vanguard no Sekai. So welcome to the world of Vanguard, which is it seems like the generic kind of like line. I don't think it's supposed to be character specific, because I don't think Raika would be that keen to be super welcoming knowing his character. Alright, once again, let me just move the stuff aside. So this is the empty trial deck box, which you can use as a deck box itself as you wish. And then here is the Youthberk trial deck paper playmat that you can see here. Youthberk just looks so beautiful. Like, that's one thing that really stands out here. Just how beautiful Youthberk is and how cool the playmat looks as a result. So definitely quite a fan of this one. So then we have, of course, the sleeves. So you can see here again, 50 copies of the sleeve itself in a pack, and then the trial deck upgrade pack, which we will take a look at later. And then we have, of course, Youthberk himself. So let's take a look at the contents of this trial deck. So we have grade 3 Youthberk Protofall Arms. So Protopole Arms says when he's ridden over, you also regard his name as Youthberk Skyfall Arms. And then he has the new gimmick, which is Revolve Dress. So Revolve Dress says, at the end of the battle, this unit attacked, you can choose a card from your hand that has the Revolve form name and ride it as stand, and for that turn, that unit loses 2 drives. And then Rearguard Circle, if during this turn you have played a Vanguard that is grade 3 or greater, this unit gets plus 5k power on Rearguard Circle as well. So we get 1 foil copy as well as 3 non-foils. Honestly, it looks so good. Even non-foil, this card just looks insane. And then of course the rest of the ride line to explain how the deck works. We have grade 2, grade 1, and grade 0 youth. And then we have the actual, the Revolve form, and this one is Youthberk Revolve form Zest. So when this unit is placed on Vanguard Circle by your Revolve Dress ability, aka this, for that turn, this unit gets plus 15k power, and if you Persona Row this turn, it also gets an extra crit. And then Vanguard Circle at the end of that turn, you choose a Revolve Dress card from your soul, and you ride it as rest. So basically, you go back into this guy at the end of the turn, so you can keep reusing this ability. So we get 4 copies of Zest in the deck as well. Then we have this grade 2, the Internalized Mage. Once per turn Rearguard Circle, if you have a Youthberk named Vanguard, you can count plus 2 to get plus 10k power. Not a particularly great card. And then we have the card that explains how Intercept works, which is actually not the 10k vanilla, surprisingly. So this is, I think, is this the only deck without a 10k vanilla in it? We have the Stardiness Dragon. When this unit intercepts, if you have a Revolve form in your soul, this unit gets plus 10k shield. So it's a 15k intercept, which is very nice. And then we have a vanilla that explains how boost works. So I guess that's the vanilla for this one. Then we have the old Perfect Art from the Keter trial deck as well. And then we have the grade 1 that says when discarded during your right phase from hand, you can call it to rear. Only 6k power though, so very low. And then we have new critical triggers, which look insanely good. Like, these are super beautiful. New draw triggers as well. New front triggers, very Shadow Paladin style. And then new heal triggers, which are the only ones that aren't very much Shadow Paladin style. So that's the trial deck contents themselves. Let's take a look at the upgrade pack real quick and see which promo we get, as well as what the cards do as well. So we have the grade 2 Youth, who says, when the scene is written by a card with a Revolve Dress ability, you can counterblast 1 and then choose a grade 2 or greater card from your drop zone and add it to your hand, which is really cool. This can also recycle your orders if you actually discard them, because it doesn't say normal unit or anything. And then Vanguard Rearguard Circle, when this unit is boosted, Soulblast 1 to give him plus 5k. So he's also a strong attacker. Then the grade 1 Youth. This one says, during the battle attacks, he gets plus 2k power, and when this unit is ridden by the grade 2 Youth, you can look at the top 3 cards of your deck and find a Youthberk from among them and add it to your hand after revealing it, or you can choose a grade 2 or lower unit card from those top 3 and call it to Rearguard Circle and shuffle the rest, or sorry, put the rest of those revealed cards back to the bottom of your deck. So you basically either find yourself a Youthberk by riding over this, or you call yourself a grade 2, which is very good. And then we have the starter Youth as well. Then we have the grade 2 Raika. If your Vanguard is placed by the Revolve Dress ability, you can count almost 1 to give him plus 10k, so he's also a very strong beater himself. So we have 4 copies of this guy, with one of them being foil, which is pretty good. I think this card will be played for some time, so it's nice. Even like the logo is also different if the trial deck card is foil. And then we have 2 copies of the Kadawara. When this unit attacks at the end of that battle, if you have 4 or more units, you can Soulblast 1 and retire this card. In order to look at the top 3 cards of your deck, find a grade 2 or greater unit card from among them, reveal it, add it to your hand, and shuffle your deck. If you did not reveal 1 and add 1, then you just draw 1. So regardless, you will not really plus 1, you basically like clear him off the board to draw 1, which is fine. I don't think this card is going to be that necessary, so I think it's okay that you only get it as 2 copies. Then we have the Orubaria, and then 2 copies of the Order. Tenkudaku Gekijo. So this card says, if you have a Vanguard with a Revolve Dress ability, you can almost want to play it. And then search your deck for a Youthberk Revolve form Zest, and reveal it and add it to your hand and shuffle your deck. So it's literally a Revolve form searcher, which we get 2 copies of. I really like the grade 1 order that is in the booster set that's coming up though, so I feel like you're going to play that instead. But having 2 copies is still fine, and I mean, just in case if you buy 2 of the trial decks, you get 4 instead. So yes, that is the content of the trial deck, and now let me open up one more of the trial decks to see what we get from the actual upgrade pack. Alright, so opening it up, can we get a grade 2 or grade 1 Youth from this one? I think that would be definitely the best. And we have the grade 0. Alright, so at least we get one of the Youths, which I think is definitely very nice. And then of course the rest of the contents are the same as before. So there you have it, guys. There is everything that you need to know about the trial decks. All three of them opened up. You now know all the ratios as well as the promo distribution for the upgrade pack, as well as I really hope you get these promo cards because they're very, very important. I'll make another video talking about why they're so important. But yeah, this is a great way to get into Vanguard. It's also a great way for people to get into card games in general because these trial decks really explain everything about the game from ground zero for people that have never played TCGs in their lives. So I really recommend it just for that purpose. Let me know which one of these three you're picking up yourself personally and which ones you're planning to build. I'm going to be building all three of them because I think all three decks are really, really cool. Drajeweled, especially in set 7, feels like it's going to be a pretty big meta threat, so for me as a competitive player as well, it's definitely a must-have. But style-wise, I think Youthberk looks by far the coolest. It's just, I love Kaoru's art, and Lianorn is also looking really cool going into the booster set as well. But yeah, that's basically going to be it for this video. If you liked it, please give it a like, and if you haven't already, please do subscribe. Let me know which one of these trial decks is your favorite in the comments below as well. But otherwise, that's going to be it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.